Hello, welcome back to Elden Ring. This is part 5 of our intelligence run through the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. Last time, we started out at High Road Cross. We went through Fog Rift Fort. We made our way down to Morth Ruins. We got through the Fort of Reprimand, getting ourselves a Miquella's Cross. And we went up into the Ancient Ruins base, clearing out the top section of that. Items-wise, we got ourselves the Serpent Flail, the Black Steel Great Shield, the Arrow Soaring Sting Talisman, Dryleaf Arts with the Palm Blast Ash of War. We got Dane's Hat, the ability to craft Mesmer Fire Grease. We got the Repeating Crossbow, the Flame Drake Talisman +3, an Iris of Occultation, America's Rune, a Mesmer Soldier Ash, Ash of War Aspects of the Crucible Wings. We got the Greybird Anklets, the Pearl Shield Talisman, and Bloodfiend's Sacred Spear. And after ending the recording of that, I also got Ash of War Scattershot Throw, which is also in that region, very, very close to Telu's Ruined Forge. But here, as you may be able to tell, we started at the main gate cross and went up the stairs and opened this door. And this is one of the beginning 2 legacy dungeons for the DLC. You can either choose to do this or Castle Ensis first. Which one you go after first doesn't matter that much. Revered Spiritash. But yeah, those are the 2 beginning legacy dungeons for the DLC. And personal opinion, they both have very cool color palettes, very cool that architecture, that's the word. Like the architecture, the color palette, the setting, the way that everything looks, visual design. Castle Ensis doesn't really have any unique enemies. Belurat, this section, the Tower Settlement, last 2 times I've come in here, that guy's had glowy eyes. I wonder what that's about. Who knows, who knows? But this area, also not too big on unique enemies. But it does have more unique enemies and more enemies that you're more likely to see for the first time here. So for example, these big guys, fun fact in case you don't know, they actually have... So in Castle Morn, there are a lot of misbegottens with the Iron Cleaver. That's what those big guys are wielding. Although, strangely, they don't drop the Iron Cleaver. So they have the weapon, but they don't drop it. Not entirely sure why, but if you look at it, it's pretty easy to tell that that's the Iron Cleaver that the Misbegottens wield. And so, that's another case of the devs reused an asset. Though, these enemies, they're a bit bigger, they have more poise, they have hyper armor on some attacks. They feel different to fight. They're in a very different context. And so, even though, technically speaking, it is a reused asset, I think it's fine. I know that Ty rolled too early. I know that some people get upset at reused assets. And I can definitely understand that. Because it can feel lazy or like you're not getting something new. But I think that FromSoft does it very well. Because they don't reuse assets that much. And when they do reuse assets, they tend to do it in one of two ways. The first way is just basically reusing a common enemy or common weapon, like the Iron Cleaver, and that makes things a bit more realistic, because obviously different people would use similar weapons or the same weapons because they're easy to make, they work well enough. Why wouldn't they be widespread? It makes sense. And they also spread it out a decent bit, so it's not like you're seeing it that often. And so it's not super noticeable, and things don't get that tiring. So I think that's fine. And the second way is a bit bigger. We can upgrade this again, by the way, and that would lead to these guys being one-shot. I might do that. But the second way they do it is a bit bigger, and it's with bosses. So take, for example, in Dark Souls 1, you had the Asylum Demon. And then in Elden Ring, you have, wherever there's a minor Erdtree, there's almost always an Erdtree avatar. And if you look at them, they're very similar. It kind of feels like the Asylum Demon from Dark Souls 1 is like the beta version, and then the Erdtree avatars in Elden Ring are like the final release version. But again, that doesn't happen that often. It doesn't happen with major bosses.
Gold shall all meet death in the embrace of Messmer's flame.
Whatever you say, my guy. Whatever you say. Ow.
Mark my words, graceless heathen. Thou shalt not evade the flame of Messmer.
Sure, bud. Sure. But when they do that, they don't do it with major bosses. Or when they do, it's very, very rare. And even when they do it with less important bosses, they don't do it that often. And even when they do it, they do it pretty well. And I always enjoy when they actually pull it out. Hello. Like, for example, the Erdtree avatars, they are overused because there's, I think, like 13 in the base game, and I feel like they could have gone with like 6 or 7. So there's definitely too many. But I do enjoy them. I rolled too late. But yeah, they are a boss that I enjoy. They're definitely on the easier side of things, but that's not gonna stop me from enjoying them. They feel very rhythmic. They're just a nice, relaxing fight. And then same thing with these guys. They have another reused asset. Because you might not be able to see it, because they're like cloaked in shadow. But they have like a curved knife. And the Inquisitors in In-Ear Ilum also have that same curved knife. Although theirs is gold. Whereas the ones that these wield is cloaked in shadow. But if you look at the Inquisitors and you look at these guys, I think it's the same weapon at least. Or at least they're very, very similar. But again, not a big deal. It's a basic weapon for basic enemies. They're in the same region. And so it makes sense that they'd have some crossover to them, some similarities. And again, I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. If anything, I think it's kind of nice. No, I sat down at the grace, so that's something we can do later. But on top of there being a consistency there, without being too much in my eyes, something else it does is means that the devs don't need to make as many weapons or as many enemies. Like, another example is the imp enemy things in the catacombs. They're basically the same as the thralls in Dark Souls 3. I'm talking very, very similar. Like, they got a reskin, but if you want, like, record yourself fighting a thrall in Dark Souls 3, record yourself fighting one of the imps in Elden Ring. Don't, like, actually fight them and kill them. but go up to them, let them get like 20, 30 attacks off, and then you can kill them. So that way you can see their moves. And like I said, do that for the Thralls in Dark Souls 3, do that for the Imps in Elden Ring. And just watch those two recordings back to back. And something you'll notice is they have basically the exact same moveset. And again, some people might find that to be a problem. Real quick. This is another cross that the NPCs don't know about, so important to get that. But again, some people might have a problem with that because, oh, it's lazy, or we're not getting as much per game. And I can understand that. However, it's actually very easy to miss when they do it. And more importantly, at least in my eyes, is it saves them quite a lot of development time. So I took my hand off the mouse right as they dropped down. Ooh. But two things. One, if you look at when they released the games, I forget when they released Demon Souls. I think it was like 2008 or 2009. And then Dark Souls 1 was, I think, 2010, maybe 2011. And then Dark Souls 2 was 2014. Bloodborne was 2015. Dark Souls 3 was 2016. Do you notice the pattern? They release games pretty frequently, actually. So it's not Revered Spirit Ash. It's not the way that some other developers are, where it'll take them 15 years to drop a single game. They release games pretty regularly. Mind you, I didn't even mention Sekiro. Partially because I don't know when that was released. I think 2018? Could be wrong about that, though. But also partially because I don't consider it to be a Soulsborne game. That does not mean I think it's bad, because I don't. I just don't think it's a Soulsborne game. I think they're fundamentally different. Oop. But yeah, they release games pretty often. And so they aren't like other companies where it takes them a long time to drop a game. But they also aren't like other companies that release games often, but they aren't particularly well received, or like there's a quality drop. Weird Spirit Ash. I mean, they hit both marks. They have a good release schedule and good quality in their games. And being able to hit both of those markers is insanely rare. And yet, FromSoft does it. And part of that, at least the number side, like, part of why they can release games pretty often is because they reuse some assets. But again, they don't do it that much, and where they do it, I think it's fine. We can head back here, and we can head through the poison section. But yeah, so some reused assets, like that enemy using the Iron Cleaver, which is also used by the Misbegotten, or these smaller guys using the same curved knife as the Inquisitors in Aenir Ilum, or the Imps having the same moveset as the Thralls in Dark Souls 3. Like, I think that's perfectly fine. Would I rather have totally new and unique stuff? Yes. But the cost of that, at the very least in terms of time, wouldn't be worth it in my opinion. And so I think that is more than justified. And then there's also the fact that a lot of the times when they do reuse stuff, they do it very, very well. Like with the Erdtree avatars being picked up from the Asylum Demon in Dark Souls 1, and the... I forget its name, but there's one in Demon Souls even before that. And, as I said, bit on the easy side, but it's a boss that I do enjoy a lot. I think that they used it a bit too much, but it's still a really good boss that I enjoy a lot, so... As I said, I think it's more than justified. Because of how often we get games as a result of that. And this thing one-shot, it's so strong. Immunizing 1 charm plus 2. And we can move on. But yeah, so I do think that reusing assets like they do is justified. And in some cases, very good. It's just funny to notice it from time to time. Same thing with these enemies. They're another reused asset from Dark Souls 3 as well. They're from the Painted World DLC. The man-fly enemies that are in the rot. I'm trying to remember the specifics because I haven't played that DLC in forever. But there's like a church, and it has the woman who gives you the frostbite ring, and she tells you to leave because no bell was tolled. And that She says something else, but I forget what it is. But she basically tells you to leave. And you can go under that. Sister Freed, that's her name. Like, Sister Freed tells you to leave, but then you have to go under the church in order to, like, pull a lever. And in that room under the church, there's a bunch of man-fly enemies. These are those same enemies. So that's another reused asset. And as I said, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's just funny to notice. Well, guaranteed Horned Warrior sword. Love to see it. I was talking about that for so long, I forget what I was going to talk about before. Yes, back off. There's no defeating me. Unless you're a boss. Because I do not have a good armor set, and the bosses hit hard. But I also hit quite hard. With my little magic missiles. Okay. That's everything in this area. The main reasons to come down here are the guaranteed immunizing Horn Charm +2, the guaranteed Horned Warrior sword, and the poisoned hand. Once you get those three things, you can honestly just teleport out. Because this is just a door that leads you back to the beginning. For if you want to do that no teleporting or limited teleporting challenge. If that's something you wish to do. Just barely enough, you'll love to see it. But we can go after this boss now. Let's see, we can drop Blessed Dew for... I think they do magic and lightning. Because they have frost, and frost is typically paired with magic. It's also Freya, but no. Also, fun fact. You can actually open this door without triggering the boss. I don't know how I figured that out, but I figured that out. But I'll let this cutscene play itself out.
O horn-decked beast from higher sphere delivered, take root inside the tower's sculpted keepers, and perched within, we beg of thee, rise. Dance and kavod, cleanse all that thou wilt. Cruelty, woe, and those who plague the tower. Cleanse away the strumpet's vile progeny.
Very cool. I love that they have two sets of teeth. One that's much more human and one that's much more bestial. Oh. Poor Yosh. They're just trying to exist. And then they got hit with a smoke blast. I know that I could fight them solo, but I'm lazy. And we also haven't really used Yosh. Like, I don't know if we've used Yosh at all at this point. I feel like that should have hit me. I mean, it didn't, and I'll take that, but I feel like it should have hit me. The lightning blast, because it was like directly on my feet the entire time. Also, sorry if I'm quiet. It is almost 5 in the morning, and I recently lowered the volume of my mic. So, if I'm quiet, that's why. But here, we can get a revered spirit ash. We can head to the small private altar. I don't know if I've shown this before, but if you get the divine beast head before killing Mesmer, I don't know if you have to do it before breaking the rune, like Mikla's Great Rune, or not, but definitely before killing Mesmer. You can open this. They usually yell at you. They're like, "Ah, get out of here, young punk."
Oh, such a joy to smell the scent again. Does a sculpted keeper stand before me? Oh, as I felt the sacred beast's essence fade, a great anxiety welled up within. Forgive this old woman her foolish fears. 'Tis such relief I cannot express. After an eternity of the mind, our voices have at last reached the heavens, as evinced by thy gracious arrival. Oh, oh, oh. I implore, vessel of the sacred beast, have my son accompany thee to war, and dance thy dance of beauteous color. Take vengeance upon Mesmer and his lot. They who betrayed us, aye, they who burned us. Let them face in thy wrath their just deserts. My song will I sing in service to thee. O sculpted keeper, channel thy color into the most resplendent of dances. My song will I sing in service to thee.
So, normally,
Horn-decked beast from higher sphere delivered, we beg of thee to dance and cavort, dance and cavort. Cleanse all that thou wilt, cruelty, woe, and those who plague the tower. Cleanse away the strumpet's vile progeny.
so Normally she smells you and goes, hey, whoa, 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 get out of here. I don't want to see you. I don't want to nothing. I mean, she's not going to see you either way because she's blind, but you know what I mean. But if you head in with the Divine Beast head, then you smell like them. And she gets happy, so because I walked in with that headpiece, kind of accidentally skipped some dialogue. So, whoops. But, yeah, if you go in and equip that and talk to her, then you can unequip it. You can sell it if you want and just keep talking to her. You'll be fine.
O horn-decked beast from Hires, welcome, O glorious sculpted keeper. Thou art kind indeed to this aged crone. Oh, pardon me, my dear. Where are my manners? Surely thou must hunger, O sculpted keeper. I prithee, partake of this modest dish. 'Tis only plain fare, but sup to the lees, and it will surely grant thee ample vigor. Shouldst thou be by hunger's pangs beset, I implore thee, partake of my stew. Thou art sure to feel thy vigor restored, though if the flavor doth thy tongue offend, I care not if thou throwest it away.
So, now we can head over to the horn scent. And we can look at those two things before continuing on with some of the dialogue. If the game wants to load. Right. But from her we get the Watchful Spirit incantation. Requires 26 faith and costs 12 FP. An entreaty received from the Hornsent Grandam. Summon a guardian spirit above the caster's head. The spirit never strays far from the caster, conjuring several apparitions before dissipating. Take vengeance upon Mesmer and his lot. They who betrayed us, aye, they who burned us. Let them face in thy wrath their just deserts. So that's an incantation. This is not the incantation run. That's the next run, and I'll show that off when we get that. But here, boosts physical damage negation temporarily and gradually restores HP. I really, really, really wish that you could either purchase these or gain the ability to craft them. Because after a certain point in the story, you can no longer get these because Grandam becomes unresponsive. But boosting physical damage negation and restoring HP gradually, those are two nice things to have when going into a boss. And so it'd be really nice if you could either purchase them or craft them. I would say craft. Like, it'd be really nice to be able to do that, but sadly you can't. But scorpion simmered in a black soup, traditional meal, the horn scent, boosts physical damage negation temporarily and gradually restores HP. Once made with love by a certain elderly woman for the family table, having long gone cold, the soup gives off a rank, sour smell. So, going with the whole having it be a craftable thing, you can get scorpion liver by killing scorpions. And there are a lot of, or there's a section in Belurat with flies. So, scorpion liver, maybe fly mold, maybe something like poison bloom. Or like maybe one of the kinds of meats. Or maybe one of the kinds of butterflies or something. or one of the kinds of fruits, or like one of the kinds of herba or mushrooms or something. There are options. Or like rata fruit or dew gem or one of the mushrooms. Like there are things that they could have incorporated to turn it into a craftable item. And I think that would have been very good. And I would have really liked it. But sadly you can't. But here we can talk to Hornsent again.
Go to the misshapen tree of Umbra. In that forsaken place, blood must spill. The blood of your fellows, the Earth Tree faithful. What's this? Do you think me in need of alms? But this dish, 'tis fair of the tower. And I remember fondly this kin-clad scent. Brings back memories I'd all but forgot. This, by my troth, is but a dismal copy. Indeed, I think it rather plain to see. Things once broken can never be the same. Look, take this for your troubles, won't you? I desire not to be in your debt. Go to the machine that for.
And so you do that, you get 3 furnace visages for your troubles. And also more dialogue. Less angry, less vengeance-bent version of the Hornsent. So, I think it's nice.
Horn-decked beast from higher sphere. Welcome, oh, what a joy it is. Oh, dost thou hunger, noble guest? Prithee, take with thee more scorpion stew. I've an inkling thou might have need of more.
And you can get more.
I implore thee, partake of my stew. Shouldst thou be by hunger's pangs beset, thou art sure to feel thy vigor restored. Though if the flavor doth thy tongue offend, I care not if thou throwest it away.
And so you can get more, and you can head back to the Hornsent, and you can try to give him more for even more dialogue. This is going to be the part of dialogue. It would seem.
Go to the misshapen tree in that force. I've had my fill. Indeed, I have no wish to wax nostalgic about days gone by, nor do I yearn to friendship kindle. Go to the miss in that force.
And so he says, no more. I don't want to be friends. I'm not hungry. And you can keep it, so you don't need to go get more. But now we can head off to see Sir Ansbach. Also, the furnace golem that we could see from there, from the Hornsent, the one that's here on the map. I believe this is another one that gives a good crystal tier, so it's worth getting. But now we can talk to Ansbach.
Righteous Tarnished, what brings you here? Oh, you must mean Samor. Samor is a kind and stalwart ally. He provisions our little outfit. Samor traffics with the Forager brood, his brethren, who collect supplies from all corners of the land. No doubt they find inspiration in his many virtues. These are not your foes, Tarnished. Should you spot any Forager brood, be sure to mind your manners.
So, just off the top of my head, there's one by Prospect Town off, like, from Prospect Town. If you make your way to the Church of Benediction, they're on a high section, so I believe around here. There's one there. And then from the High Road Cross, you can go north and to the left to this building, and then it's north of there. But that one, I believe you need to drop a Sunwarmth Stone to get that one to be friendly to you. There's one by Morth Ruins if you head southwest over to this building. It's like right here, right past this thing, like here on the map. There's one there. And then if you go from Morth Ruins north and head up into here, into this Poison Swamp section, there's one here. And then if you go from Bonnie Village out east and then north, and you go all the way up here, you can go here into the Church District, but you can also go to the left and up. And then right here on the map, there's one. There might be others, but those are all the ones that I know of off the top of my head. But the one up here is the only one that's worth it, in my opinion, because they let you make a better version of this. And that's good for boss fights.
Righteous Tarnished. What brings you here?
So here, there are three different Miquella's crosses that you can talk about. The one at the tower, one where the eye was abandoned, one at the coast. In case you don't know, the tower one is right here in Belurat. The one where the eye was abandoned is here. If you go from Morth Ruins south, you'll see a dragon. If you head east of the dragon, there will be a Spirit Spring jump. You want to activate that and then jump up and you can grab it. And then the one at the coast, starting from Castle Front, you want to head south and down where you can. You'll pass by like a poison section and you'll make it to Elak River Cave, and then you want to keep heading south. And you'll take like some jumps down, and that'll eventually get you to here. And from there you just keep heading south. That'll get you to Cerulean Coast. And then you just keep heading south. And then eventually, here there'll be a Ghost Flame Dragon. Keep heading south, you'll get the map, and then you want to head up the hill, and the cross will be here. So that's where the three crosses are, and you can talk to Ansbach about them.
Righteous.
And I will let this dialogue play itself out.
Well, I'm much obliged. As suspected, kindly Miquella has visited the lands which hold the tower, and appears intent on wholly dispossessing himself of his flesh. He must be seeking entrance to the Tower of Shadow. Righteous... Well, I am much obliged. I can hardly believe it. He's divested himself of his very eye. Tender Miquella's eye is no mere morsel of flesh. It is a vessel of soaring grace, proof of his Empyrean lineage. I wonder, does Miquella the Kind intend to sever his very birthright, his fate as a child of the Erdtree? Righteous Tarnished, I have reasoned through my findings concerning kind Miquella's intentions, why he is here. The full picture is yet to coalesce, but we do know that he is bound for the Tower of Shadow, and that is where he intends to rise to true godhood. The Tower of Shadow houses a divine gateway. A well-kept secret it was, but The gateway was once the birthplace of a god we know all too well. Righteous Tarnished, what brings you here? Well, I am much obliged. To think there was a cross left in such a faraway place, and the deep purple water lilies would be blooming there. This can only mean kindly Mikola has divested himself even of that, his adoring other self, his blossom of slumber. Righteous Tarnished, what brings you here?
Okay, so the whole thing after the second one, where it was like, I haven't gotten the whole picture yet, but I think I know what he wants to do with the whole Gate of Divinity thing. I thought that you would get that after dropping all three, because this is the last one I got when I found that out. But nope, you get that from this cross. I don't think there are any more. I could be wrong, because this is one of the things that I haven't looked up. But I think that's all of them that you can get before breaking the spell, by going into Shadowkeep or east of Bonnie Village. There are more crosses, but I don't think that there are any more that you can get before breaking the spell. So I think that's all the dialogue you can get there. But you can get that. So that's dialogue from Grandam, new dialogue from Leda and Hornsent, new dialogue from Ansbach,
Welcome.
and also more has a thing.
Oh, I know. Give this to Thiollier. He asked me to find it. I finally found it. Many things.
Okay. We don't have anything to sell, do we? I don't think so. Outside of these, but I don't care for those one way or another.
Goodbye.
But black syrup. An ebony black syrup held in an unglazed jar. Moore asked that this be delivered to Thiollier, an unknown liquid apparently gathered and aged by the forager brood. I wonder if Freya has anything else to say. I typically just ignore Freya because she doesn't really have much until after you get to Shadowkeep.
In battle, you can be sure I'll hold my own.
Yep, nope, she doesn't have anything else. Okay. So we can head to Thiollier then. We can talk to him, we can go through all of his dialogue, then we can end it. Hello, friend.
So, what can I help you with? Oh? What's this? I have to say, Sir Moore has an awfully sharp eye, doesn't he? It's wonderful. This ebony, as lustrous as the night sky unending. I don't think I could ever thank him enough, but I'll have to think of something. Ah, forgive me. You two deserve your share of the reward. I'll mix up something special. If you find yourself weary of the weight of this life, then just give me the word. Sleep is a balm. An eternal sleep is an elixir. Is that so? Then take this. This concoction can coax even the oldest of dragons to sleep. For you, it will grant the sweetest slumber for all eternity. So, what can I help you with?
And now you can purchase an infinite amount of these. They're 30k a piece, which is very expensive. But if you drink it, you instantly die, which is pretty funny to do for co-op stuff. And there's some places, like, you can get summoned in the open world, but then if someone gets to a cave, like, let's say they summon you in Gravesite Plain, you can go through, but then you can't go into Belurat jail, because there's a fog wall in front of the jails. And so, what do? Well, you're supposed to kill the Ghostflame Dragon, and that'll end the co-op. I think that's why the Ghostflame Dragon is there. But let's say the dragon is already dead, or you don't want to do that. You can just drink Thioller's concoction, die, and then that lets him go into the cave. So, pretty funny thing to do, but yeah, it is very expensive. Also, as you go through the DLC, both Thiollier and Sir Moore, both of them end up dying. They're the only two merchants in the entire DLC, and they both die. And Moore drops a bell bearing, Thiollier does not. And so the stuff that Thiollier sells, like Deadly Poison Perfume Bottle and his concoction, you might think, oh, well, that sucks if I forgot to buy this or didn't have the runes at the time. Or if I want to keep getting this, do I just have to not... Like, do I just lose out on this forever? Do I just have to not progress the DLC to a certain point? Well, no. Because, not sure why, it doesn't make any sense to me, but Moore's bell bearing actually lets you buy Thioller's stuff. So, after you get to the end of the DLC and Sir Moore dies, and you pick up his bell bearing and you give it to the Twin Maidens in the Round Table Hold, if you go into Moore's thing, it lets you buy Thioller's concoctions. It doesn't make much sense to me, but you can let them die, and even though he doesn't drop a bell bearing, you can still get his stuff, so don't worry about that too much. But with that being said, I think we can end it here. We went through all of Belurat. It's 3 graces. We talked to Hornsent Grandam. We talked to Hornsent, and we got new dialogue out of him. We talked to Ansbach, and we got a lot of dialogue out of him. And we talked to Thiollier and got his concoction. Item-wise, we have gotten the Crusade Insignia, a talisman that raises attack power after defeating an enemy. We got Ash of War, Shriek of Sorrow, which boosts attack power, and the less health you have, the more your attack power goes up. We also got the Bone Bow, which is a light bow with a unique skill. The unique skill is like Barrage, but with a homing effect, so that's pretty nice. We also got the Dried Bouquet. We got Immunizing Horn Charm +2, a guaranteed Horned Warrior Sword, Poisoned Hand. We got Remembrance of the Dancing Lion, Divine Beast Head, Watchful Spirit, Scorpion Stew, and Thioller's concoction. So, good progress. I'm happy with that, and, yeah.